Hello and welcome to the program, everyone. I am Nifemi Oguntoye. We'll begin with a wave of suspension in the People's Democratic Party. Earlier today, the National Working Committee announced the suspension of the acting national chairman, Umar Damagum, and National Secretary Samuel Anyanwu for alleged disloyalty to the party. Before that, however, a faction of the NWC, sympathetic to Damagum, had announced the suspension of the National Legal Advisor, Kamaldeen Ajibade, and National Publicity Secretary Debo Ologunagba, also for alleged disloyalty to the party. A new dimension was introduced to the issue when Mr. Ologunagba also announced in a statement on Friday that Umar Damagum and Samuel Anyanwu have both been suspended. So it's the case of you suspend me, I suspend you drama hitting the opposition party. Meanwhile, the PDP Integrity Group has appointed Yayari Mohammed as acting national chairman of the party. Now, the board of trustees of the party is calling on all sides to sheath their swords and de-escalate the tension. In a statement signed by Special Advisor Media Ikena Onuoha, the board of trustees asked the warring persons to revert the status quo in order to preserve the unity and stability of the party. They say while disagreements may arise, as a party with a long-lasting tradition of internal democracy, members must not let these challenges derail the party's collective vision. In the meantime, acting National Publicity Secretary of the PDP, Ibrahim Abdullahi Manga, has assumed office following the suspension of Debo Ologunagba by the National Working Committee of the party over allegations of anti-party activities. The acting Publicity Secretary acknowledged that the party is contending with some level of internal bickering, but assured that the PDP will emerge stronger. According to him, his predecessor and the suspended National Legal Advisor will face a disciplinary committee to answer to allegations levied against them.
Visited with the worst government in the 8 years of Buhari. Just when we thought we were going to heave a sigh of relief in 2023 election, again, a more monstrous administration has taken over and have subjected Nigeria since then to this perpetual misery characterized by squalor, hunger, and despondency and decline. It is for you to know that in addition to your responsibility as members of the pen, we are also family men and distinguished Nigerians. We are all in this together. It is the kind of support that we get from you going forward that will determine whether or not we are collectively on the page to rescue this country from imminent collapse, or rather the democracy itself, narrowing it in particular. You would agree we have worked closely, we have maintained a positive narrative for this party, we have turned the argument against the enemies of democracy and the APC in particular. Even this morning, channels identified the development in the party. You will recall 3 years ago, in November.
Well, I'll be talking to some members of the People's Democratic Party to help understand the dimensions of the wave of suspension of the party. Let's begin with Larry Olayinka, who's a PDP member and former aide to former Ekiti State Governor Ayodele Fayose. Mr. Olayinka, thank you for joining us. How are the Irumoles in Okemesi?
Hello?
Can you hear me, Mr. Olayinka?
I can hear you clearly.
I was asking how the Irumoles are doing in Okemesi.
Oh, they are doing fine. We just finished the normal meeting that we held on Friday, and we did justice with some keg of palm wine and bushmeat.
All right, we continue to hear allegations of anti-party activities from multiple fronts within your party, which has now ultimately led to the suspension of the acting national chairman, as we know it, and also the national publicity secretary. They say there's no smoke without fire. What is kindling this new fire within the People's Democratic Party?
Well, like some of us have been saying, since we have been having comedy since the party choose not to be fair on the issue of discipline. And when I say discipline, it starts from even top members of the party carrying out actions that will injure the party, leave the party, then come back to take front road that they were before they left. The problem of this party started from 2003. I told some people this morning, 2003. It happened in 2007. Someone was vice president. He left PDP. He went to Action Congress. He formed Action Congress with the present president. That is President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. He contested under that Action Congress. He did not win at that time, and then he came back to the party again, and he left the party again, and came back to become the candidate of the party. That is the beginning of what we are saying today. Not being firm on issues of discipline, not being firm on issues of saying, oh, you have been rebellious to the party before. You when you come back, go and take.
Well, Mr. Olayinka, you cannot possibly still be blaming the woes of the PDP on Atiku Abubakar. I mean, Mr. Damagum has been acting chairman since last year. What has he done differently to resolve these challenges?
I did not mention name. You are the one that I just mentioned, Atiku Abubakar.
Well, it is clear who you were talking to. I mean, talking about.
Damagum is the acting chairman in accordance with Section 35, subsection 3C of the Constitution of the PDP. And the section is very clear. When the chairman is no more, by virtue of resignation, death, whatever, the deputy national chairman from his zone takes over from him. And that is why we have Damagum as the acting chairman. Any other person saying any other thing is acting. I listened to one of the members of the House of Rep, Honorable Gochiri, talking a kind of, and one of the things I look, and that's why I said what I said earlier on. Somebody who joined PDP 2002, what does he know about the runnings of PDP? When the chairman is no more, somebody, the deputy national chairman from his zone, and the zone, as recognized by PDP, is North and South.
I understand that clearly, Mr. Olayinka, but that's pretty much not what I'm talking about. You know, sometime this year, about 60 members of the PDP in the House of Reps called for the removal of Mr. Damagum as acting chairman to be replaced by a substantive chairman from the North Central. Even though there's a court order restraining PDP leadership now from removing him as acting chair, there have been multiple allegations against the man, including anti-party activities. Mm-hmm. The question is, what has he done in the past 1 year thereabout to unite the party?
You see, I don't want to be seen as also coming here to defend Damagum or speak against Damagum or whatever. I am here to speak as PDP member who is abreast with the provision of the constitution of the party. What has Damagum? Okay, you want to remove Damagum. How do you remove him? The law of the party, constitution of the party says when there is no chairman, he takes over as the acting chairman. And the constitution of the party also is further say that to replace a national officer, you have to hold a national convention. It is very clear. So if you want to replace Damagum, simply hold a national convention. And I don't also subscribe to the idea of people saying because the former chairman is from Benue or from North Central, and the next chairman should come from North Central. No, the constitution of the party recognizes North and South. That is why PDP rotate position from North to South and South to North. So when you are rotated from North to South, it is the internal arrangement of the North or the South to put this in this state or put this in this area or whatever. The position of the national chairman was zoned to the North. So anybody from the North is qualified to be national chairman of the party. That is the position of the PDP. Anybody saying something else, probably are people who just joined the party and were fortunate to have won election and they are in the House of Rep. Well, if they have stayed along in the party like people like us, they will not be talking like that.
I hear you clearly, but when you say that to change...
What I'm saying is that, let me conclude this. If you want to replace Damagum, the constitution of the party is very clear as to how to replace him. He's a national chairman of the party, is national officer, and the constitution of the party says that national chairman will be elected at the national convention. So what the party should be talking about now is holding a national convention to replace, and if you look at the judgment whether order or judgment that was delivered today, what the order was also saying is that if you want to replace Damagum, go call a national convention and elect another national chairman.
But it is, Mr. Olayinka, it is easier said than done. Apparently, the National Working Committee of the PDP is divided with these conflicting reports of suspension. So, how do you wield the wand to command a national convention?
The party will be divided. The party will be divided. And that's what I said at the beginning. This party will continue to be divided as long as people are seeing the party as their personal estate. Estate where they contest election this year, travel to wherever, whether Dubai or America or whatever, and come back 2 years after and come and pick the party ticket. What I said this on your station like 7 or 8 months ago. For PDP to move forward, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar was come out to say that I am a statesman. I will no longer contest election as president. Let us build this party and bring out another person, because the South has 8 years to spend. That is a clear thing.
I'm just wondering.
If you are talking about,
I am wondering why you have singled out Atiku Abubakar. He wasn't the only one who wanted to be president on the platform of the PDP. Remember, some would say that the challenge with your party today is a fallout of the ongoing conflict between him and the current minister of the FCT. How do you react to that?
Yes, no, you see, the problem is not about conflict between an FCT minister, Barrister Wike or Chiwike or whatever. In 2003, there was crisis in PDP. Atiku was central to the crisis. In 2007, there was crisis in PDP. Atiku was central to the problem, crisis. In 2014, there was crisis in the PDP. Atiku was central to the crisis. So Atiku has been central to PDP crisis since 2003. So if he has been central to PDP crisis, he should also be magnanimous, be honest, be sincere enough to come out and solve this problem. And the way to solve it is tell Nigerians, tell PDP members, I want us to build this party together, not building it to come and contest. Because
let us take a short break, but I just think it's too much problem to place on a single individual. It sounds like the other stakeholders are shying away from, taking a blame in what has happened to the party thus far, if you're singling out Atiku Abubakar as the only solution to these problems. We'll be back to discuss this further right after this break. Stay with us, everyone. Thanks for staying with us, everyone. Our attention is turned to the PDP and the multiple suspensions we have reported from last night till today. The big question is, can you appoint a new acting national chairman with the current constitution of the party? Were these suspensions done in alignment with the law? Leroy Olayinka is a PDP member who's joined me on the program. Thank you for staying the course on the show today. The highest decision-making organ of your party is scheduled to meet later this month. Do you think the National Executive Committee can resolve this matter? Mr. Olayinka?
The National Executive Council can resolve it. I'm with you. The National Executive Council can resolve it. But the question is also that the person to call the next meeting and to share the next meeting is the acting national chairman, that is Damagum himself. Is the acting national chairman. I read, like you said, people saying that they have suspended Damagum. I don't know how two people can sit down and say they have suspended other people. I'm aware that the National Public Secretary that was suspended is in Canada. If you are in Canada, how did you now meet to suspend another person? So, and can you now make National Treasurer acting chairman of the party when the law says even when you remove Damagum, the person to take over as acting national chairman is the deputy national chairman South. That is Alhaji Taofeek, Ambassador Taofeek Arapaja.
Hold on a minute, Mr. Olayinka. Are you assuming that there are just two people who suspended? What we are hearing is that the National Working Committee of the PDP is actually fractured. I'm sure you are aware that a new acting chairman has been appointed by this other faction.
That is what I'm telling you. You appointed National Treasurer as acting National Chairman. Can you? Is it in accordance with the constitution of the party? The constitution of the party says that when there is no chairman, the deputy national chairman from the zone of the chairman takes over. When there is no deputy national chairman from that zone, deputy national chairman from the other zone, which is in this South case, the South takes over. And the deputy national chairman of the party as of today from South is Ambassador Taofeek Arapaja. So how can you now go over and above that and go and announce the national treasurer as acting chairman? Where did they get that from in the constitution of the PDP? They should also be able to tell us where did they get that they can appoint treasurer as acting chairman from? When you have the person that the constitution of the party says can take over.
It's all right. I hear you clearly, but in response to all of these various crises rocking the PDP, we saw in August the National Working Committee establishing what they call the Reconciliation Committee and Disciplinary Committee, chaired by former Osun State Governor and a former Minister of Foreign Affairs. How impactful has these committees, have these committees been in resolving these issues?
I've told you that some of these things will not work. It cannot work. And I'm repeating it again, it cannot work. When you set up disciplinary committee and people who are part of those who cause problems, for instance, you are talking to me now that I contested the election last year. 1 month to the election, I was suspended from the party for no just cause. They did not even ask me, why did you do this?
No, for anti-party activity, Mr. Olayinka. They said you were supporting another party.
No. When you say anti-party activities, are you not supposed? The law of the party says that you should give the person you are disciplining fair hearing.
But obviously, your principal was supporting Asiwaju at the time. Now that was clear for everyone to see.
My principal was supporting Asiwaju. Where did you see my principal campaigning for Asiwaju?
He actually did.
If my father, let's say,
he actually did. He had some interviews where he made known publicly that he was going to support Mr. President.
That my father was still alive at that time, and he was supporting Asiwaju. Does that mean that I'm supporting Asiwaju? If my principal was supporting Asiwaju, does that also mean that I'm supporting Asiwaju?
So you are saying you were not supporting?
Because
are you saying you did not support Asiwaju in 2023?
They said I did not attend. Wait, they said I did not attend Atiku's campaign in Ekiti. Did they ask me whether I was sick that day, or whether my pastor, my prophet told me that I should not go out? If I go out, I will die. They don't ask me.
It's all right.
You are bringing those people to, and you are bringing those people to come and be doing disciplinary committee.
Let us attempt to get back to the issue here. The Board of Trustees has now intervened, calling on all sides of the National Working Committee to sheath their swords and also de-escalate the tension. So what the board is saying here is that in the overall interest of the party, the warring person should revert to status quo to preserve the unity and stability of PDP. What is status quo in this situation, Mr. Aliri?
The status quo is that the national chairman of the acting national chairman of PDP presided over a meeting of NWC where 2 members of the NWC were suspended. The public secretary and the national legal advisor. They were suspended. That is the status quo. Every other thing anybody is saying, to my mind, is comedy, is drama. So what we should not do is that, when were these people suspended? Let us resolve issues with them. It's just like you have said, this person stole something, he has been arrested. He's in court. The court has convicted him.
Just a minute. It sounded like you are taking sides. I would have thought a status quo would mean that it will mean. Just a minute. Just a minute, Mr. Olayinka. I would have thought that status quo would mean the revoking all of the suspensions that have happened in the past 2 days.
No. The moment a lawful authority takes an action, it is that lawful authority that can reverse that action. In this case, the lawful authority is the National Working Committee headed by Damagum, because he is the only person that can preside over NWC meeting. Without him, the Deputy National Chairman South can preside. So, and in this case, he presided over NWC meeting, and they took decision. If the BOT is now advising as their duty, their function is, it is to now tell the National Working Committee to reverse that decision. So it will now take another NWC meeting to be presided over by Damagum for that action, for the action they have taken to be reversed. You can't just say that, okay, it's just like a court of law has convicted somebody and you are saying they should not. It is when the court of law convicts somebody, it is another court or that court that can reverse that order, that conviction. That's what I'm saying. The other people that said that said they met.
Yes. Just a minute.
You also ask them is who presided over their meeting.
Allow me to butt in. We're running out of time. What does this mean for PDP as an opposition party? There's an election in November in Ondo State. How do you reassure party faithful and supporters that the party can still stand strong amidst all of these internal conflicts and leadership crises?
You know, politics is local. Election in Ondo State is in Ondo State. PDP, okay, as of today now, Shebi, the Minister of Petroleum, Eneke Lokobiri, was suspended by the party in his ward. So does that affect APC? What I'm saying in essence is that I am not happy that the PDP is the way it is. I hope that common sense will prevail, reasons will prevail, and the party, there is a lot of issues in this party. Whoever that is deceiving himself or herself can keep deceiving. I am saying that there is a lot of crisis in this party, and all of us has to sit down together and tell ourselves the truth. Those who injured the party 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, we must tell them to their faces that you did this to the party, and they must apologize to us openly. That is where to start. It's not to begin to bell major issues and say that no, there is problem in PDP, but we can solve the problem by being truthful to ourselves.
Good place to leave it. Lero Layinka, PDP member, former A2, former Ekiti State Governor Ayofayoshe, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us tonight. Well, that's our program. You can watch it again at midnight and at 6 a.m. tomorrow. I am Nifemi Oguntoye, and I'll be back